It's hard to think these images show these families celebrating their move to one of the world's most conflict-ridden areas, the occupied West Bank. Today, thousands of foreign settlers, including many French citizens, live in occupied territories, despite the United Nations repeatedly condemning colonization. Based on articles from Israeli press, promotional videos published by associations and public profiles on social media, we found the settlements where the French have chosen to live. Among Europeans, they are the most numerous to settle there. They thus contribute to their expansion. A colonization encouraged by Israeli politicians.
On vous attend.
So why do these French people choose to settle here, where violence has a long history?
Si nous on n'est pas là, du coup les Arabes ils prennent le territoire et ils s'étalent sur des étendues de terrain qu'ils prennent.
Who is encouraging them to settle?
Toute la terre d'Israël est juive pour l'éternité des temps.
While France condemns the West Bank's colonization, what is its stance on these French settlers? On social media, we noticed this promotional video.
Israël est fort et en pleine croissance. Maintenant, plus que jamais, c'est le moment de faire son aliyah.
Aliyah, the Hebrew word for ascent, refers to the migration of Jewish families worldwide to Israel. Organizations offer their support in this life change. Israela, for example, caters to English speakers. Others focus on French citizens, like Group Aliyah, in this business for 30 years. Or the Lech Lecha organization, created after the October the 7th terror attack. It offers a turnkey solution with complete and personalized preparation, structured professional integration, comprehensive academic support for children, and housing assistance. Lech Lecha was founded by Nili Kupfer Naouri, a French-Israeli lawyer with radical views she even wears around her neck. A pendant depicting the map of Greater Israel. An expansionist view where Israel's territory goes far beyond current borders, largely encroaching neighboring nations. In France, she's subject to an arrest warrant for complicity in genocide, for helping block humanitarian aid convoys to Gaza. To convince French citizens to emigrate, she highlights the rise in anti-Semitic acts.
Il n'y a plus d'avenir pour les Juifs en France. Et s'ils n'avaient pas encore compris le point de l'histoire auquel nous étions arrivés, eh bien, il y a des événements extrêmement préoccupants aujourd'hui en France qui le leur fait comprendre.
That's why, according to Lech Lecha, for the Jews of France, it's time to return home. Once the decision is made, one question remains: where to settle? Group Aliyah or Lech Lecha offer various destinations, including Israeli cities like Afula and Ashkelon, but also ones located in the heart of the occupied West Bank, called Judea and Samaria in Israel.
La Samarie, c'est l'une des destinations proposées cette année encore par l'Aliyat Group. Après les villages de Pédouel et Yakir, c'est à Brouchim que cet été des familles venues de France déposeront leurs valises.
From their catalogues and social media, we were able to locate at least 8 destinations offered by both organizations in the West Bank, all of which are illegal settlements under international law. In 1979, United Nations Security Council Resolution 446 stated that the policy and practices of Israel in establishing settlements in Palestinian territories have no legal validity and constitute a serious obstruction to achieving a comprehensive, just, and lasting peace. Since then, 8 other resolutions have condemned settlements. To no effect. The International Court of Justice in 2024 reiterated in an advisory opinion that Israel is obliged to immediately cease all new settlement activity and to evacuate all settlers from the occupied Palestinian territory. Not enough to deter settlers, including those from abroad. In fact, the Israeli Central Bureau of Statistics reports that in 10 years, 2,287 Russians, 2,096 Americans, and 1,190 French have settled in the West Bank. The 3 most common nationalities. By investigating the social media of Aliyah and regional groups, as well as Israeli press articles, we found French settlers in over 12 settlements in the last 10 years. They notably appear in immigration aid groups' promotional videos. We chose to blur their faces.
Carte paradisiaque, les enfants sont en liberté, se faire beaucoup d'amis très rapidement.
Il y a le cadre de vie. Ici, on n'est pas dans du béton, on est dans la nature. Il y a les voisins, ils sont chaleureux, ils ont le temps. C'est l'ambiance communautaire.
The content we viewed never mentions the situation or even the existence of the Palestinians. We contacted Group Aliyah as an interested family. We were naturally directed to the settlement of Ariel in the West Bank.
Les dernières destinations qui nous restent pour cette année sont Ariel, Haïfa et Beersheba. Alors Haïfa et Beersheba sont 2 très très grandes villes. Ariel, c'est dans le Shomron, donc en Samarie, derrière la ligne. C'est une petite ville fermée.
Et il n'y a pas d'enjeu particulier de sécurité?
Non, c'est plus sécure que d'autres endroits, mais grâce à Dieu, enfin, moi par exemple, j'ai fait mon avis il y a 10 ans en Samarie, ça se passe très bien, j'ai 4 enfants et on ne se sent pas du tout en danger, on a ce qu'il faut, il y a l'armée, il y a tout le monde.
Group Aliyah itself documents the French arrivals in the occupied territories, such as in Ariel. Like for this family. On Instagram, we see their arrival at the airport in July 2025. Their first steps there, welcomed by the community of Ariel, and entering their new home. It is a newly built neighborhood. In these satellite images, these buildings did not exist 5 years ago. Within 10 years, these successive expansions have slowly reduced the distance between Ariel and the Palestinian city of Salfit. From 1,200 to 700 meters. Our study found that in the summer of 2025, at least 9 French families moved to Ariel. But others often choose smaller settlements and live there in poorer conditions. Like Yakir. In 2023, Group Aliyah announced an expansion plan using an innovation. The Caravilla, a kind of mobile home.
Ce que vous allez voir maintenant, c'est une invention spécifique de l'Aliyah Group. Depuis 10 ans maintenant, nous avons la possibilité d'intégrer les familles dans ce qu'on appelle les caravillotes. Vous allez le découvrir, c'est extraordinaire.
A cross between a caravan and a prefabricated home, allowing Yakir to expand quickly and cheaply, as seen in these satellite images. The A family settled in this extension. In 2023, an Israeli newspaper recounted the family's journey from the airport in France to the doorstep of their newly installed caravilla. The Lech Leche organization also offers caravillas to the French families it supports. Like in the Nofim settlement. It was founded in the 1980s. For this, 625 dunams of land, or 63 hectares, were confiscated from the Palestinian village of Deir Istia, according to the Applied Research Institute in Jerusalem. In July 2025, Lech Leche used these new caravillas in Nofim as a tool for resettlement. Some of these new arrivals were personally welcomed by a politician heavily invested in settlers from France. Yossi Dagan, president of the Samaria region in the West Bank. He praises newcomers whilst carrying his gun. This right-wing politician recently distinguished himself by proposing Netanyahu and Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize. He's made a habit of visiting France to meet families. Like this day in June 2023, invited by Group Aliyah. He makes welcoming French people a priority. The project to welcome French immigrants is a flagship project of the Samaria Regional Council, and I personally lead it with enthusiasm and pride. These new arrivals are key to a goal he set 10 years ago. My vision is to have 1 million people living in Samaria. I believe that in a few years, the floodgates would open and 200,000 Jews would leave France. And goes above and beyond. He greets them at the airport, helps them to move in. In 2022, he was in France to conduct a lottery to allocate caravillas located in a settlement. Brooklyn. This village in the heart of the West Bank is one of Group Aliyah's destinations. This settlement, based on our study of Israel's press over 10 years, has at least 32 French families. How do French families justify taking part in colonizing the West Bank? We contacted 19 of them as journalists. No one wanted to answer this question, even anonymously. By posing as a French woman wanting to make Aliyah, we obtained a response from a Brooklyn resident. We have altered her voice.
Je me dis que si nous on n'est pas là, bah, du coup les Arabes ils prennent le territoire et ils s'étalent sur des étendues de terrain qu'ils prennent, et en fait je me dis mais attends, c'est pas juste, tu vois, ils attendent pas d'avoir des permis de construire, ils attendent pas, ils construisent.
The Israeli Brooklyn settlement was established in 1999 on confiscated land. 332 dunams, or around 33 hectares, were taken from the neighboring Palestinian village of Brooklyn. Since then, tensions between the Brooklyn settlement and the Palestinian village of Brooklyn are ongoing. In 2022, settlers reportedly cut down about 40 olive trees owned by Palestinian farmers, according to Israeli NGO B'Tselem. In early March 2025, according to the Palestinian news agency Wafa, dozens of settlers raided the area overnight, throwing stones. Cars were vandalized. The violence peaked on the 14th of May 2025 when Cecilia Gez, a resident of the Brooklyn settlement going to hospital to give birth, was killed by a Palestinian sniper. A week later, the Samaria Regional Council released a video of its chairman Yossi Dagan doing paramilitary drills with young people from this settlement at the site of the attack. In memory of Tzila, may God avenge her blood. The next day, settlers raided the Palestinian village. The Israeli daily Haaretz reported on it. On social media, the villagers documented the raid and the damage caused. One of them told us his story. To protect him, we did not use his voice. They attacked around 20 houses. They were more than 150 settlers, most of them teenagers. They burned cars, they tried to burn numbers of houses. And all of this attack took 2 to 3 minutes. Then they ran back to the settlement and no one was arrested. I cannot sleep. I feel very, very angry. The army also intervened, leading the UN Human Rights Office to speak of collective punishment. Security forces closed all entrances to the Palestinian villages of Kafr al-Dik and Brooklyn, placed all residents under curfew, denying them access to supplies, schools, and critical health services, carried out mass arrests accompanied by physical assault, and confiscated and damaged land and property, including schools. Violence affecting the entire West Bank, which intensified after the October 7th Hamas attack in 2023. The UN Human Rights High Commissioner stated that a year after this attack, 24 Israelis were killed in the West Bank, as well as 612 Palestinians, mostly by the Israeli army. These raids involved destruction and expropriation, intended to make even more room for settlements. It's urged by Netanyahu's far-right coalition, which has approved over 100 new settlements since 2022. Starting with Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich, who actively supports Lech Lecha and its leaders Nili Kupfer-Naori and Haim Berkovitz.
אני מכיר את עמותת לך לך ואת הצדיקים האלה שמובילים אותה הרבה מאוד שנים. אני אומר לכם באחריות, אחד הארגונים הכי יעילים, בארגון עלייה וקליטה של יהודי צרפת במדינת ישראל.
Political support, but also financial, this time for the group Aliyah organization, funded by the Ministry of Immigration. Between 2022 and 2025, this aid more than doubled, increasing from 292,000 to 773,000 euros. As for the settlers, including the French who settle in settlements like Brooklyn or Ariel, they are entitled to a state subsidy. Up to 1,341 shekels, or 400 euros per month, for 2 years for a couple with or without children. In Israel, settlers are supported by the government. In France, they face legal action. In 2025, 2 complaints were filed for war crimes and complicity in war crimes. They target French-Israeli settlers and the associations supporting them. A complaint is from the Lawyers Association for Justice in the Middle East.
Faire son alia en Israël, c'est un choix individuel, spirituel, religieux qui ne regarde personne et certainement pas la justice française. Là où ça devient plus un enjeu spirituel mais un enjeu juridique et criminel, c'est quand on décide de faire cette alia dans des territoires palestiniens occupés au sein de colonies de peuplement illégal. C'est un crime de guerre qui est réprimé à la fois par le droit international mais par le droit français. C'est le crime de transfert par une puissance occupante de sa propre population civile vers un territoire occupé.
The complaint is based on the penal code, according to which participating in the direct or indirect transfer by an occupying power of part of its civilian population into the territory it occupies is punishable by life imprisonment. The French court has not yet ruled. But what do politicians say about this colonization by French citizens? For France's position on occupied territories is clear. Israeli settlements in the West Bank and East Jerusalem constitute an illegal seizure of land. We ask the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Given France's stance on colonization, what is your position on French citizens settling in occupied territories? The Quai d'Orsay responds, France's position against the colonization policy deemed illegal under international law applies to everyone. So France condemns its citizens residing in occupied land. One European country goes even further, Belgium. In May, a resident of East Jerusalem was refused their passport renewal. Reason for refusal: residency in Palestinian territory. This follows the decision by Brussels authorities to cease consular services for citizens living in settlements. A first in Europe, just as colonization was undergoing an unprecedented boom. In February 2026, the UN Human Rights High Commissioner stated that within a year, settlement expansion had led to the displacement of over 36,000 Palestinians in the occupied West Bank, warning of possible ethnic cleansing.